We're back. Again, Adonis joined by Anatoly. We had some pretty good matches. Barrage overtaking Excel there. Excel still yet to find a win, but still looking, I think, pretty good after those games here. And Barrage has now moved into first place because of it.
And with that, we're going to see Excellence versus Rival, who are 4-2 for Excellence and Rival at 3-1. Now, Rival, they played against each other earlier on, and it was also a 2-0 win for Rival.
So, they've met before, getting the better end of it. Excellence, though, they found 4 wins, 4 of them against Excel. So with Excel kind of looking decently, I kind of expect Excellence to play pretty well. And when we did see their matches earlier on, I did see some signs of some goodness in there. So we'll see if they can bring that against one of the top cards in Rival.
Having more games played in general, it could be an advantage for Excellence, especially considering the fact that they have a little bit of confidence booster getting those 4 wins against Excel. So going off of picks and bans, Guan Yu taken right off the bat, but it's going to be Excellence that is first pick and going to ban that away. And
don't want to let Guan through. Guan, did I just say Guan through?
Guan Thu. That could be the next skin.
Guan Thu. What is it going to be of, though?
I have no clue.
What is a Thu? Sounds like a Dr. Seuss thing. The Thus. The Thus came and ruined my town.
The Guan Thu versus the Guan Thu.
Susano also banned. Scylla taken away. That's a little bit of surprise seeing the Scylla banned away, and it's going to be Ao Kwang. So 2 junglers by Rival, the Guan Yu meta, and the Scylla ban.
We don't normally see Scylla in this position. It's either the Zeus or the Raijin. And normally with those 2 taken away, you do pick up the other. But now instead, it's going to be Scylla that's banned and Raijin picked.
So, I mean, maybe this is a little bit of a shot at Atonement, you know, taking the Scylla away out of his hands. Raijin going to be locked in for Farleez as well. Can't go wrong with that first pick. We do have the Bacchus on the other end, though.
So it's going to be some early aggression with the Bacchus in the duel lane. We saw the last set specifically how aggressive the Bacchus was. So more than likely we're going to see a repeat of that in the duel lane. Going to have to synergize with another very aggressive Hunter. Could maybe even synergize this with an Awilix.
And it's going to be a Nemesis.
Which is also good.
That's interesting. Also maybe kind of going to be looking to pick off that Raijin in the back line. Obviously, he's going to be able to Thunder Crash away, but he's still going to be so slow. And Thunder Crash isn't actually, you know, kind of the longest distance movement that we see from other mids with escapes.
So now in this position, Raijin has to be very careful about offensively dashing in with Nemesis and Bacchus to counteract that. You have to wait until that Nemesis ulti is down before you engage.
And yeah, and we see Awilix locked in as well, so maybe that direct counter to Bacchus that Excellence are looking for. They're also going to be pairing this here with what I imagine to be a support, and it's going to be the Sobek. The Awilix Sobek, I mean, it's a tried and true method at this point.
It's either that or Gap, so picking for a very good offensive god as well, going to be the Sobek. So laning phase, no matter who it's going to be Hunter-wise for either team, it's going to be just fireworks in that duel lane.
And this is interesting, though. Even though the Sobek synergizes super well with the Awilix, you have to worry about the Nemesis who directly counters the Sobek because he's going to dash in. And even if he connects with the player, he's immediately going to get Nim ulted and blown up, and we've seen that quite often.
He has to build around that. Could potentially counter that with an early Winged Blade. Zhong going to get picked up by Rival. We haven't seen this in quite a while.
I mean, the thing here is this core of Rival, even if they get pulled by an Awilix, like they're really tanky, right? Bacchus has his Chug, probably going to go in an early Spirits Robe. Nemesis has her shield, as well as the ability to steal protections for herself. And then Zhong Demon Bag. He just gets a bunch of prots.
I love this idea that Rival has against the Sobek. You don't want to pull the Bacchus or the Zhong into your team currently from Excellence. You're going to just take so much area of effect damage from those 2 gods.
And if you pull the Nemesis, it's like, well, Raijin could just get dove. I mean, the Nemesis could be like, thank you. Thank you for delivering me to the back line. It's going to be a Raven as well, so no leaps that the Awilix is going to be able to counter.
Bracken and Odin taken off the table from Rival, making sure that Zhong isn't going to get locked down by those player-made obstacles. I like the mindset there.
And Sun Wukong going to go to Excellence to match up. So a pretty safe solo laner. Even against a Nemesis, I would say, he's relatively safe. And a Zhong right? Because he just sustains so much, and Zhong isn't really going to 100 to 0 you. In a second, it'll be like, 4 seconds of just chasing you down with ghosts.
Normally against a Raven, you want to make sure you have those ability-based solo lane gods trying to outclear him early on. Sure, Raven is going to be able to bully you out in the early game, but as long as you outclear him, then you're going to be able to turn that around on him with a minion wave advantage.
And a Ho Yi, last pick for excellence in the Hunter role, but Rival get a direct counter of whatever they want. So Sobek Ho Yi here, Bacchus, going to be paired with not an Apollo as that was banned away. Maybe a Neath if they're looking for a pick comp, right? Because they do have that Nemesis.
The problem with Neath here is the fact that Excellence does have a Willish, so that could be easily
I lied.
pulled.
Let me go back in time and tell myself that I'm an idiot.
Cupid, maybe. It's going to be Xbalanque, another dash god that has an escape.
But he goes CC immune, so it's kind of going to be hard for Awilix to capitalize off of that at all. Xbalanque here, going to be in the match. I love Xbalanque. He's so good, man.
Trying to spot it.
The shenanigans.
Trying to spot it.
You got to look for the shenanigans every game. I'd say Zhong. We didn't really talk about him too much, but he's not really picked up. I mean, I guess it's just like, I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of Zhong overall, but I think this counter to this Awilix where it's like all 3 members of Rival's core are just so tanky that even if they get plucked, they're fine.
And Awilix has to be very careful about initiating against the Zhong Kui. Just has so much damage over time. So once that committal does happen, like Feather Step, you want to use that against a bursty comp, right? Zhong Kui is more about damage over time.
And the thing too is that I'm a little bit worried about the Zhong Kui when it comes to damage. Obviously, his survivability is going to be great, but Zhong Kui is really bad against super mobile teams. And, you know, this isn't like a Giannis or anything, but everyone on Excellence has some form of escape or disengage outside of the Sobek if he, you know, decides to play aggressively. And it's like one of those things where, like, you need to stay in range of people with your Ghost. And it's bad if Excellence can kind of jump over all these walls with their abilities. But, you know, Thunder Crash, Suku, and Ho Yi jump all can go over walls, which is the most important thing for them.
And with that, Sobek is also going to have Sprint available to him for not only the engage, but the disengage away from the Zhong Kui Ghost. So it's going to be difficult for Rival to figure out a way to properly use those Ghosts. Might be looking for more of a counter-engage style with the Nemesis Zhong Kui more than aggression.
I love sprints too, just countering Nemesis. I mean, obviously she's got a lower cooldown now, and so you can't get it every time, but it's such just a strong direct counter to that ultimate. And Farleez not only clears the lane, but he swings away at Atonement, just beating the drums, hitting almost every single basic outside of the last one, and Atonement already pressured under his tower.
And with those archers under his tower, he cannot contest these imps that are about to respawn. Awilix is going to group up with him. Meanwhile, on the dual lane side of things, Headhunter popping his potion and having to dash away.
And Mr. Turtle there, he putting a ton of pressure on that left-hand side with that Sobek. So Sobek Ho Yi kind of getting the better end, and I mean, that's kind of to be expected. I'd say these lanes are probably close to even.
Depends who makes the mistake first. Bacchus did pop his meditation early on, so favoring Excellence moving into the rest of this laning phase. Sprint is still available to Turtle.
I don't know. I love the kind of popping that meditation early in the laning phase so you don't burn your potions, right? So you can trade out poke, and you got that regen. I mean, I guess it depends if you have to use it defensively, if you're using it just to gain lane control, right?
There's a small window that could be taken advantage of.
That's true.
So left side mid Harpies did go in the favor of Zhong Kui that soloed it. Meanwhile, the right side was taken by Excellence as the Awilix did group up with Raijin.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so they actually went to try and get those back Harpies, but they had spawned a second later, so a little bit of a backstep, but they're not going to miss any groups because of it. And they head back into the mid. Predators here getting pressured out on the right-hand side, to be expected. Down a little bit of gold, but he's just letting the minions kind of hit him as he's gone into Vanguard.
Excellence should hit level 5 off of this mid wave, and more than likely, oh, they're not. Okay, so one of the Farleez did hit level 5, but they're not going to look to play aggressively here. Instead, they're going to be very content with getting their own back Harpies and then maybe going back into mid, clearing the wave, then rotating.
And that's possible there. They will hit 5. And look at this, though. Rival recognize exactly what Excellence are doing. They go straight to the back Harpies on left, but they need to be careful because Awilix, I think she spotted it out. Oh, this is real bad. They didn't get anything off of this.
And they're not going to be able to get underneath of the wave, so they're going to have to go all the way around. This wave is going to get pushed under their tower. And Excellence, if they knew the warding situation...
That would have been a kill,
actually,
for sure.
There were 2 wards from both teams on those left side mid Harpies that fizzled away.
Oh, wow.
It was on the bottom hand side for Rival, so they walked over their own ward. Excellence didn't spot that out.
That would have actually been for, like, Farleez and Lycan. I mean, they would have had to royally mess up against that Zhong Kui, who has no escape in the early game. Also gone into the purification, so he doesn't have, you know, maybe a sprint to create the distance. But missed opportunity as those wards go away here. So 3 minutes in, no kills on the board. Player damage pretty low as well. I mean, Zhong hasn't done really anything to anyone. It's just a poke war in the duo and solo lanes. And the buffs are respawning, but it doesn't seem like either team wants to try and invade.
I would have liked to see Zhong pick up an early Sanctuary instead of the Purification, because a lot of early aggression could instantly occur with the dash from Farleez into an ultimate straight up on the Zhong could take him out. Despite having those protections, early game, you're just not that tanky.
Don't you have to worry about... I mean, that means you have to wait till level 12 to get that Purification, though. And then all you need to do is get knocked up by the Sobek once. Yeah, it's risky, though. I mean, the Sobek Awilix is such a deadly combo. That's the thing. That's the point of it.
Well, the thing was, if there was a 2v2 engage in the jungle side, that Zhong was dead.
Yes.
Without Sanctuary.
That's true.
That was the one issue that I was worried about for the Zhong, the 2v2. The 3v3, however, yes, you're going to need the Purification to deal with the Sobek.
What if you could just buy all the relics at once? Remember, did you know there used to, there used to be 3 actives?
Oh, yes.
In 2012.
And they used to cost like 250 gold.
Yeah, and everyone just they weren't as strong as they are right now, but still having 3.
And there were certain passives, I remember.
Oh yeah, like the meditation one where it's like
MP5.
I think that's all kind of just been built into it now. But yeah, they used to have. Oh man,
it was strong. It was alright.
The Anubis with Blink, Purification, and Aegis/Sanctuary. Ooh.
Every team getting a bunch of heavenly agilities back then.
All right, get me out. Aggression in the mid. Turtle trying to find the pluck. Oh, no, he's locked under tower, and then M-ult immediately in response. He's going to ult, but it's not going to be enough, and Atonement secures first blood. That's what you always have to worry about in this Sobek versus Nim matchup.
And this is what we talked about. Rival is going to be looking for the counter-engage with the Zhong and the Nemesis. Sobek just overstepped. Even if he did connect the pluck, that was going to get purified away instantly, and then just turned on.
I think he dies there no matter what, so maybe not playing this 3v3 exactly how he needs to right now is Turtle and Rival. They're going to be able to use this and steal away the red buff.
They're trying to extend their advantage, and I love this play. It's a very safe invade, unless Lycan can steal it, but doesn't look...
No, he didn't. Got it. Stolen away. Oh, actually, the 2-man feather step, too. And we see the jump away from Bacchus, but Atonement's left to his lonesome. He's surrounded by 3. He's going to die, and it's going to go over to Herp.
Atonement just a little bit too late on the Purification. Popped it, but he was already mid-air during that, unfortunately. So, trading off 1-for-1. Red buff was stolen, but now it looks like Excellence are going to try to counter-invade the red, but it's not there.
Already picked up there. Should have saw it around Atonement in the meantime, but we're too focused on the kill there. There's the pluck. Oh, and late Purification. Nemesis is in the middle of this lane, gets feather stepped, and there's Thunder Crash as well. The ult from Farleez not coming out. Is it even available? No. But Lycan chases him under.
So a nice second kill for Excellence, trying to find more advantages. It's going to be in the jungle now. The Nemesis not going to be able to farm a little bit. Speed buff is coming up for Excellence. Going to look for that and then maybe another play.
And Excellence, I mean, they were kind of on the back foot early on, or winning pretty heavily, I should say, excuse me. And it got a little bit dangerous there after Rival were able to pick that first blood off, but they've seemed to swung it back in their favor now. Only about 300 to 400 separating the teams.
It seemed like Rival was about to start the Gopher, instead looking to place some really good aggressive wards, spotting out the rotation from the Sobek, making sure that Excellence gets spotted out every place that they go.
And Firearm's done. Wards placed here. You can see Sobek has placed 3, 2 coming out from the Bacchus. So just trying to get that vision on the left-hand side of the map right now, favoring Rival, as I'm assuming Excellence's wards have fallen off since then. They have one there deep just to keep the Ho Yi alive.
So the Sun Wukong is maxing out the Cudgel. Sometimes you would see the Sun Wukong maxing out Master's Will just because it has less mana consumption than the Cudgel. Cudgel max out is at about 90 mana, whereas the Cudgel is 60. So even though you do about 10 or 20 less damage, you're significantly using less mana.
And I think that's just because he needs to play safe against this Robin. He doesn't want to really be in the middle of the wave. But, I mean, he's wrestled back control. He actually has a slight gold lead, and there's going to be a fight in the middle. There comes the Taiko drums and the ult on top. Atonement. He's already picked it up, too. And he's going to be chasing down Farleez. Uses the Thunder Crash defensively, and the sprint's going to make sure he gets out alive. But Rival, once again, answering back. Predators has made the rotation, but he's not going to be able to look at Zenborne. And just a free 2-for-0 in the mid-Harpies.
And the way Rival is playing this so far, after their kills, they're getting something out of it. They're getting the second kills, they're getting the right and the left side mid-harpies. The first time around, they stole the red buff. Unfortunately, they traded 1-for-1 the Zhong, but the mindset is there. They're still thinking about the objectives they can take with this player advantage that they have.
And already, I mean, they've got themselves about just under a 1K lead. Not that much, but still good that they're trying to extend it wherever they can. And the Sun Wukong made that rotation, which allowed the Ravana to kind of gain that lane control back as well. So he was down a couple hundred, but he's neutralized all of that. And the Sun Wukong, he's going to be able to try and get his blue buff, but this could be invaded by the Ravana.
It's going to be dependent on how confident he's feeling or whether or not he wants to back. In this position, looking at some of the levels, I'm really fearful for Excellence moving forward with Raijin being slightly behind currently. The Doom Orb was picked up early on for him, but he wasn't able to really get these full stacks that he needs to at this early game. So with the lack of mobility, it's going to favor the Zhong. It can chase him down potentially.
Yeah, I mean, just 3% on those boots won. I mean, if Zhong activates his ult, there's no way Farleez is going to get out of it. Even if he Thunder crashes away, he's just going to be so slow that Atonement should be able to get in range. And you can see Atonement, he's looking to build into what I think is going to be a Warlock Sash. It's pretty early on, so stacking that up or getting the stacks rolling at under 10, I mean, that's just great efficiency time.
I love this play from the Zhong. He's going to have the protections with his passive, and now he's going to complement that with the health, making sure that he'll survive the initial burst damage coming from this Awilix Raijin combination.
I almost feel like he wants to get pulled into a team. He's going to be like, please, Sobek, deliver me unto your squad, and I'm going to press 4 and run at them, and they are going to die.
That's the one target, besides the Bacchus, obviously, that you don't want to pull to your team. Going to have a nice triple hit, but not knocking anybody up.
And really, Lycan kind of needed that knock-up. Zenborne looking for the knock-up too, but he jumps in place, thinking someone's going to juke back into him, but doesn't connect. And Excellence tried to set up something there. Doesn't work out. Almost got turned on.
Meanwhile, in the solo lane, Wukong just pushing the lane as the Ravana comes back. The dual lane, just trading off poke. HerpTheDerp taking a little bit more damage than the Xbalanque.
I mean, Herp definitely wants to fight this, though. You can see he's got his boots completed. He's also working on to a balanced blade right now, probably going to go into the chins or executioner of the like. And the Xbalanque is equal in gold, but he hasn't been able to get anything. Invade on the right-hand side. Lycan already forced out of this one. The team's looking for the speed buff, but Turtle getting so low. Chased down, just completely destroyed off from that Nim ultimate. And Sun Wukong, he's going to be forced to Ox form to get out. But once again, I mean, this Sobek just cannot survive this Nemesis.
That was a beautiful engage from Rival, playing aggressively, doing a lot of damage to the Awilix, forcing her away. Now Farleez is forced away from this, as there might be another kill. Sun Wukong and Raijin popping the ultimates, but not enough damage to find a kill currently.
Yeah, and he used the damage too. Wasn't even looking for the CC. Lines the players up, but it's just not enough. Predators survives with a thanks to that Summer Salt Cloud, but the players are going to go back to farming here in Rival. 800 gold leave. Not that massive, though. I mean, we're almost 11 minutes into this one. I'm kind of looking at the experience, and even that's pretty even. It's really just this Sobek who's getting abused.
The fact of the matter is, with that speed buff invade and the red buff invade, there's 2 buffs of their own to take currently. So once those are off the table for Rival, it's going to extend their lead unless Excellence can sneak this Gold Fury.
It's going to be hard to sneak it when you got a Sentry Ward right on top of you. And after countering it, they back off.
Just going to respect that. Away, Bacchus is going to rotate along with the Xbalanque. Another ward going to get countered on the side of Excellence. Lycan looking for a potential knockup, not electing to really try to get the Zhong back in front of his face.
Nice turnaround from Zenborne there. A little bit worried about getting hit by Suku's knockup, or the Awilix knockup. And back to farming we go. And I do, you did see that other, I kind of want to talk about this. Zenborne placed a ward in the fire, or the Gold Fury pit, even though it was just a regular ward and knew a sentry was there. That was just to get vision without having to walk around that corner.
You just have to be ever so careful. Now, the play that you could have against the Bacchus or the Zhong, you could potentially pull them in, but you're going to be taking a lot of return damage.
Oh, there's the pull, and Zenborne plucked in and knocked up. He's going to die before he can get his Intoxicate off, and finally, Excellence get the pick they're looking for. Ho Yi going to stop Atonement, who's out of mana. And Excellence, I mean, they've been looking for that pick all game. This time, though, Zenborne a little bit low on health. If he's healthier there, Rival probably turn that.
Look what the Bacchus is electing to pick up now as a result after his death. He's going to try to go for the Magai's Blessing, making sure that he's not even going to get initially knocked out by the Sobek or the Awilix.
I wonder if is, I mean, I wonder if that was his original intention, because he had a tier 1, and I thought he was just going to go into like a Spirit's Robe or an Urchin, but instead, I mean, Magi's Blessing this early, is that really worth? Like, it's not a lot of protections, and it's a pretty heavy investment in gold.
You're trying to not be the primary target of the Sobek Awilix combination, and maybe lean on, or allowing Excellence to maybe try to go for somebody else, and maybe going for the Zhong, which would provide a lot of return damage for Rival.
And it seems that Excellence aren't really able to execute that team comp they want. Rival now going to be starting this up. The Gold Fury, Mr. Turtle, says hello. He sees what's going on, but he needs to get in now. He's waiting too long, and there's going to be an opportunity, and already Gold Fury picked up by Rival. I mean, if Turtle wanted to stop that, he needed to go sooner, and here comes the Nemesis ult. HerpTheDerp, no purification online for him. He actually does, but he doesn't elect to use it. Still thinks he's going to fall, so saves his cooldown, but dies in response.
Sobek could have potentially saved the Hui popping a sprint along underneath. If the Hui used the purification to negate the slow, then that could have been allowing the Sobek to find himself in a good position to pop that sprint.
But not going to happen there, and that's going to give a little bit of free farm to Xbalanque, who was already ahead. And now he has this Gold Fury. Speed buff is secured by Lycan, so it's not going to be stolen away. And Rival, I feel, have been in the driver's seat for the game in the last 6 to 7 minutes, but they haven't really looked to abuse that. Kind of just playing pretty passively, just looking for the team fights.
Slow and steady. You know, they get the red buff, they get those 2 mid harpies after the first 2 initial round of kills, and that's what I like to see out of these teams. They need to look for the guaranteed safe plays to extend off of their aggressive earlier on plays, because sometimes if you overextend yourself too much, like we saw in the last set,
yes,
when they try to force the Gold Fury in a position where they weren't quite ready for it, they get capitalized on, and then the other team just takes full advantage.
And Rival right there, they knew that Excellence had already backed off, and Turtle doesn't elect to you know, go in sooner to counter it, and just free Gold Fury basically. It is going to be the Warlock Sash for Zhong. We didn't really talk about it, but he's already got 17 stacks. Going to start working on penetration as well. Do you want to see him go into a spear, because he can stack it pretty easily? But I guess it's only increasing the Bacchus' damage.
Could be Void Stone on the Zhong
versus the Raijin Sobek, just to be tankier. What would you like to see?
I would like to see Void Stone on the Zhong. Speaking of penetration, though, the Hu Yi has Executioner online instead of going for the Soul Eater, trying to get a lot of damage onto the Zhong and this tanky Bacchus.
Oh, Predator. He actually popped his meditation, so a med bait there, and he does get a couple ultimates in response. Xbalanque gonna pop his, just trying to secure that kill, and Predator's lives. That's important.
It's very important. The teleport is available for him to come back and defend this tier 1 tower as well. So HerpTheDerp, with the Executioner build, more than likely is going to be able to blow up an aggressive Bacchus belly flop or a Zhong that's charging at him.
I mean, also, the Executioner changes are online here, so instead of, you know, looking for 5 stacks, you're actually going to be getting more penetration or protection reduction in only 3 hits, which is also going to increase Sun Wukong's and Awilix's damage if they're on the same targets that are hit by that Executioner effect.
A lot of aggression in the dual lane from the Xbalanque, poking out because of the fact that there is no lifesteal from the Hu Yi, taking full advantage of that.
And Herp's going to have to back, like you said there. Has probably a good amount in hand there, and you can see he's going to be working on Soul Eater as well. Got the tier 2, so now he's got a little bit of lifesteal. Xbalanque's got 1100 himself, and he's actually started up what seems to be a Masamune.
Could be, potentially. Could also be maybe a sort of later Transcendence.
Oh, that's true. That's definitely possible, but aggression there. And Farleez getting chased down. Nice knock-up. Lycan going to help peel for his mage. And now the mage ult is coming through, but it's not going to connect enough damage. Lycan barely getting out to the safety of his tier 2, but his tier 1's already fallen. Predator's made the rotation, but his ult is down. He used it earlier trying to survive under tower, but it doesn't seem like they know about it. There it is, just back up in time.
Now Rapio is going to be the first victim. Despite getting the tier 1 mid tower for Rival, they lose their jungler, and now Excellence could potentially turn this around if they elected to. But with the Willish having to back earlier on, this is still just a 4-on-4.
And that's, I'm seeing that a lot right now, is that there's a lot of AoE damage, especially from that Zhong and Bacchus, that it's kind of hard for Lycan to stay in these fights, right? He's not dying necessarily. He's only fallen the one time, but he's getting poked out so fast Now the tier 1 getting aggressed onto. Excellence trying to match back. Predator's looking for the stun on Atonement, but he is so low and taking the tower as well. Zenborne secures the kill, and Gnome, he's actually going to get flung back into the team. The Sobek was looking for the pluck, and he got it, but he's still in the middle of 4 people. I don't think Headhunter's going to be able to secure him, and the tier 1 should fall.
I don't like this aggressive play coming out of Predators. Diving that tower without his ultimate available to him, it's just like you're asking to get taken advantage of. And with that, Rival holds their tier 1 tower, now looking for more counter aggression. What the Sobek needs to do to counter the Zhong, he needs to pick up Shell for his second relic spot to negate just that damage over time.
And that's what we saw a lot of, when Zhong started to become popular last year, near the end of kind of the super regionals and SWC, was that, okay, Shell, you just pop it. The second you save it until the Zhong, and it negates so much of its effectiveness, like almost the entirety.
And that's going to be something that's going to be picked up right now. Sobek's going to back to base. Waiting for it. There he goes. It's going to be the Shell. So
Turtle knows what he's doing.
Team fights is definitely going to go in favor of Excellence as long as they wait for the cooldown of that Zhong ultimate, like we mentioned.
I mean, that's going to be something, too, that Rival can just look to pick off the Sobek early, strip the protections. And he also needs to be careful, right? Because he needs to pop it after Nim ults him as well. Because if he pops it before Nim ult, that's just going to be more protections for her to steal away.
Have to be very careful and mindful about the timing of that. There is a meditation as well for the Sun Wukong, so have to save those 2 important relics to deal with a huge team fight potential just out of this one Zhong pick.
Yeah, I like this, actually. Both teams are looking more towards Rival. They've gone into kind of more of this team fighting relic system, but it seems like the Gold Fury is going to be started up there. It's at 40%, and once again, I mean, Turtle needs to get in here. He can't delay too long, and now he's made the choice. Raijin going in, but it's actually aggression and a bait from Rival. Oz jumped forward here, and now it's trouble. Headhunter's already taken out Lycan, and now the Ho-Yi getting chased down as well. Atonement throwing out the Ghost there. The sprint is activated, is able to close the distance, but he's not going to have the damage to finish off the Ho-Yi, but it's already 2 dead on the side of Excellence.
The issue with that team fight was Sobek waited for his Shell for so long during that engagement that it didn't benefit his teammates at all. He used it just to save himself at the end there.
And trouble for Excellence here. They're going to be losing this Gold Fury uncontested. The Sun Wukong trying to get some split push going, but he's not even going to be able to get a tower, I don't think. And now 5,000 separating the teams 20 minutes in.
Excellence are doing a pretty poor job of defending the aggression from Rival. They need to be very committed towards these defenses. They can't just look at the Gold Fury for so long. The Shell needs to be procced, and the ultimate from the Sobek needs to just be engaged on, because you're either going to force them to reset or force them to turn on you in that situation. If you can absorb all those cooldowns as a support, that's what you want for the rest of your team just to clean up. So I'm seeing a little bit of fear on the side of Excellence about engaging.
Especially Turtle a little bit. He waited a while. He wanted his team to come in. We did see the Raijin going to be the initiator, but it's just a complete bait from Rival the whole time, right? The second the Raijin ults, it's just an all-in jump from the Bacchus. Zenborne wasted no time, hits the multi-man Intoxicate, and then everyone just piles in.
And that's very important for Rival, the way they're playing it. They're still playing aggressive. The Ox form is down for Predators, so he's going to force to use his ultimate relatively soon if he gets CC'd even further.
He has meditation, though, and he actually is going to get out. You could see Excellence had a couple members waiting around the corner, so Rival didn't want to all-in commit, but they could look for this Tier 1 tower. And they're actually going to be looking for Lycan. Oh, his jump is down, knocked up. Sanctuary's going to keep him alive for just a couple seconds, and it doesn't seem like anyone's going to be able to chase him down. Gnome over the wall. He's got the overhead kick, and Rapio finishes him off with the last auto.
Beautiful engage from Gnome, securing that kill. And with that, Xbalanque still playing aggressive in the duel lane, using that Darkest of Nights just to extend his auto attack range. And he's going to try to get this Tier 1 tower. And HerpTheDerp still trying to box. He does proc his own Soul Eater.
Yeah, but I mean, he's lost all the stacks now, and it's going to take him a couple waves to get those up. And Headhunter's just going to be able to continue to pressure him. You can see he did go into that later kind of Transcendence, but it's already stacked up to 36, so he's doing so much damage with this as basic attacks. Also has that +5 power from his passive. And it's just going to be a double siege for Rival.
And this is a nice idea for Rival, because you're winning in the 1v1 in the Hunter position, and with a one-man advantage, now Will is just respawning. You have a 4-on-3 for a little bit into the solo side, so why not take advantage?
And you could see Predators trying to stop everything. The Tier 2 being sieged, no one trying to proc the tower, but trouble as Gnome's flung back into the team, but Zenborne immediately counter-engages, finds the multi-man Intoxicate, and here comes Atonement, chasing him down. I don't think he has the damage to finish this one off, but the rest of his team is looking to follow up. Predator's very low, trying to get hit. Mystic Rush not enough, but they're still a Tier 2, and right now, Rival going a little bit too deep.
And going to get knocked up is Gnome, going to get feather stepped, barely using the overhead kick, trying to escape, but Mr. Turtle confirming the kill onto Gnome. Tier 2 tower does fall on the right-hand side. Meanwhile, left-hand side, 1v1 still going on. Bacchus going to fall on the right to the Sobek ult.
And finally, 2 picked up, but there was the tier 1 on left, the tier 2 on right, so 1,500 gold in the favor of Rival. But with those 2 members gone down, it's kind of about what can Excellence do now? Can they get anything else off of this? There is 2 low tier 1 towers, but they're not trying to force them.
I would say at this point, maybe even Fire Giant, considering the fact that the location of these kills were very close to Fire Giant, that they could have collapsed on it almost instantly. So there was a little bit of a window that they could have capitalized on it, but it looks like they're going to go for the mid lane instead.
They should be able to get this tower. Actually, they're just going to give it up.
Left side mid Harpies being prioritized at this stage of the game. Not the wisest of choices. You just want to make sure you have a little bit more map control in your way. Predator is going to get slowed by this Nemesis. Could potentially get chased down. There is a speed buff on Rapio.
Oh, she is going to. Forces Predator's ult for ult. I'd say overall, probably equal. They both have really low cooldowns right now. Predators has that max CDR, 50 seconds. Nemesis ult will probably be up in like 30-something.
In this situation, Nemesis,
50-something as well.
Yes, the timing of it is going to be allowing the Wukong to match it. Having double CDRs fully stacked is going to allow him to just still have this for the next team fight along with the Nemesis. So nothing really much gained or lost in this position.
And now we're seeing these item advantages come into play. The Nemesis has gone to the Stone Cutting and Executioner. And this is going to be a really tanky Zhong. He finishes stacking his Warlock Sash in 2. Gone into the Obsidian Shard, and then he's looking for either an E-Staff or a Gem of Isolation. Honestly, both work.
I would say the exact same thing. Both would be a very nice pickup. There is a sprint online for the Sobek, so that would get countered a little bit from the Gem of Isolation, but regardless, the longer a team fight lasts, the more benefits you're constantly getting out of that Gem of Isolation. When you get hit by that card, you are moving at a snail's pace.
Yeah, because it's the double slows, right? The card itself slows, and then you got hit by that as well. And you can see Winged Blade-wise that, I mean, there's really nothing on Excellence's side, which I'm a little bit surprised about, especially into this Nemesis pick, that I wouldn't see the Sobek specifically go for it, so when he gets ulted, he can just run away.
Rapio waiting for HerpTheDerp to come around the corner, but it seems that
Herp saw.
Rapio probably got spotted by a ward.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Rapio's glowing orange buff is seen behind those trees.
He's hunting wabbits.
He's hunting wabbits. Rapio is hunting wabbits. Anyways, gold 3 picked up by Rival, extending their gold lead once again. Fire Giant probably going to be the next thing they're going to look at, and they're heading straight to it. More than likely looking for baits, though. They don't want to all-in commit, I would imagine. I mean, unless Excellence are just going to give it up. But if they give it up, I mean, they're just playing to lose.
Rival are waiting around the corner. There's going to be a heavy engage.
Oh, and there it is, the jump in. But quickly, Turtle recognized what's going on and jukes it. However, Predator is still in the middle of 4. He's getting CC'd right now, needs to get his ult off, and he is going to manage to get it off in time. And a couple ults wasted as Zenborne uses his Intoxicate just to disengage.
Xbalanque was thinking about potentially chasing Predators, but Predator's going to defensively ulti away. Now this leaves Rival with an option to force Excellence into this Fire Giant pit. Mr. Turtle needs to be the one leading the charge. The Willish ulti is available to synergize with a Tail Whip.
Oh, Rapio going straight in, trying to isolate Herp, and I think his dash is down. No, it's come back up. However, now the attention is turned. Raijin actually doing a fair amount of damage to the back line, and Lycan is trying to take out Gnome, but I mean, that's such a tanky target. Probably not the target he needs to look for. Zenborne getting chased down there. Lycan finally finds the first kill in this fight, but he's so low, and Headhunter's auto attacks are just swinging away.
And now that's a 2-for-1 in the favor of Rival, and now 3-for-1, and Mr. Turtle might be in a little bit of trouble as he's going to get potentially chased down if he can find the root as Gnome.
And Predators here actually going to get a nice couple knockups. Turtle just kind of chilling, doing everything he can. The Fire Giant has not been started up by Rival, so Excellence can kind of hang their heads high that they're not going to be immediately in a bad position here. But Predator's getting chased down. Bulwark is going to be popped, and he's going to get his ult off in time. So low cooldown for him. Just came back up, and he actually jumps right back on. Oh, and he misses his cudgel. Headhunter would have been dead, but it's Headhunter who comes out on top. How do you miss your cudgel that close?
Beautiful presence of mind from Rapio, trying to position himself between Headhunter and Predators as well. Absorbing some of those in-hands was very crucial, so that 2-for-1 favoring Rival. Now they're going to start up the Fire Giant. Turtle going to get instantly Nemesis ultied, forced to charge per way, but he's slowed so long by this Zhong, and he should fall very shortly.
He's going to heal up a little bit, but it doesn't matter. Rapio finishes him off with the dash, and Fire Giant still being looked at, and Headhunter just has so much damage right now. Takes it out. and Rival, they're doubling in kills, 14 on the board. They've got about a 10k gold lead, and they got Fire Giant, and we're only 27 minutes into this match.
With 2 tier 2 towers remaining, Golfier respawning in about 2.5 minutes. There's going to be a huge gold lead coming on the side of Rival that should allow them to get these Phoenixes relatively easily.
And yeah, so it's just the last 2 towers to finish off the Zhong right now, 18,000 damage. He's done so much, and it was the Gym of Isolation, so even though it's not the E-Staff where you get a ton of health, you still get, I mean, a fair amount onto the gym.
More utility.
I think it's like 200 plus 250 on Gym of Isolation.
It's about 250 for both health and mana, I believe. But also the fact that it's going to give you more utility. Even though the shell will counter a majority of your damage of your ultimate is going to slow everybody around you.
And it's just non-stop. All your abilities, I mean, are gonna hit those slows. And look at this, Zhong, a fair tanky player, 3,000 health right now.
With 492 magical power, those ghosts are going to be hitting quite a lot, especially if shell is on cooldown.
And like you said, the CC, the slow, it's going to be so massive. And there's only a single sprint on the side of Excellence that's onto their Sobek. And outside of that, it's, what else do they have? They have 1 Winged Blade being started up by Sobek and not on anyone else.
I love the patience from Rival. Just taking these 2 tier 2 towers, gonna probably try to force this left side Phoenix in response. The dual lane side is the most important Phoenix because it's the opposite of the Fire Giant. As long as you get this one, then Excellence has to constantly defend this lane, which is going to make the travel time towards Fire Giant that much longer.
And here it comes, Atonement in the back line here. Predators to the front, going to find a knockup, but Atonement has the shell on top of him. He's just focusing on the Phoenix, so pretty objective-minded right now. Rival don't want to risk anything. They just get the Phoenix. That's it.
It was very clean Phoenix as well. Not many cooldowns were used. Raijin going to find a little bit of poke through the wall. Going to be engaged on Rowan. Atonement going to get pulled. But like we mentioned, that's the one target you don't want to pull. The ghosts are doing so much damage.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to finish anyone off, but he's still alive right now. Lycan forced back into his fountain, and that's going to be another Phoenix. Predators, his ult is down, but he's still trying to fight in the middle of 5. Trouble for him if he gets CC'd at all. Looking for the root, but it doesn't seem like Gnome has it up, and so the team is just going to take the 2 Phoenixes and disengage.
It's really impressive that no one from either team has died in this position. Not able to defend their Phoenixes, but the last remaining Phoenix needs to be defended if Excellence wants to get back into this game. Fire Giant still lasting quite a while for Rival, and they're going to play very patient, just stripping away this blue buff and waiting to maybe push out this wave, and then going to spend all their gold in hand.
And just trying to finish off their build. You can see they still have an item left kind of in a couple slots there.
3,000 on Zhong.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Rod of Tahuti.
Rod of Tahuti picked up. And Nemesis here, going to be working on her last item. I think she finished Wind Demon after that. Extra little gold. And Atonement now, we saw it, what, almost 500 magical power, now pushing over 6.
That's just, it's obnoxious at this point. Even Shell is not going to be enough to deal with it. You're going to need something else to sort of limit the damage. And normally we would see Isis with the shell. Not necessarily Isis shell, but some
just
sort of
combo.
Shell.
Yeah, but instead it's the Raijin here. And I mean, he's done a fair amount of damage in the game, highest on his team, but he hasn't been able to secure the kills. And that seems to be the problem, is just Lycan is sitting there at the bottom, actually below the Bacchus on damage, and he just can't seem to he can't seem to survive and get off these kills he needed. He got 1 in the last fight, but outside of that, nothing.
Also, Herp needs to find the right target to go on, but it's just so difficult because all of Rival is just coming at you, and there's so much area of effect damage between the Zhong and the Bacchus that you have to position yourselves really far away from that, so he's not getting those in-hands that he needs on anyone.
Oh, this is trouble. Last Phoenix, and look at this. The positioning from Excellence is pretty poor right now. You have 2 members on the back Harpies. They're not where they need to be. And Lycan kind of just sitting there right now looking for the XP gain. And look at this, Turtle trying to defend right now. But here comes the Zhong ult, and Rapio's already taken out 1. Predators falls as well. Raijin trying to ult, but I mean, he's just going to get piled in on.
And he's barely able to escape that. And HerpTheDerp, doesn't matter. Titan falls. First game going to Rival.
Rival overall playing really well. And once again, like, this is, you know, kind of the teams we're looking at between top and bottom. But Excellence had a really solid showing. I think kind of the team comp that Rival drafted made it hard for them to abuse that Awilix Sobek core.
We saw ever since the first missed pluck in the mid lane, that's when things really went downhill for Excellence, because Rival off of that, they invaded the red. Now, unfortunately, they lost to Zhong off of that, but regardless, they still found objectives, and Rival was just all over the place, and there was nothing Excellence could do about it.
Well, before we we get into the second game and final of today's SCL, just a reminder, guys, we've got some events to finish off the year. We're going to be talking about all of them on Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern on the 6th of July, twitch.tv/hi-rez TV. You can see the fall split's going to be starting. We're going to have super regionals once again, but there's a couple little things in between and one even before the fall split.
That looks like a train cart, right? Like a
Oh,
little
yeah, a little
train
bit.
being pulled.
A little bit.
We're going somewhere?
The SWC. It's the SWC train.
Oh, we're going to SWC.
Got to go all the way there. But